After Forsaken's open beta test to play Noli yesterday, I made a video on it giving my opinions on Noli and how I thought he was currently and in the future. I generally criticized some of his ability design, thinking it was a bit whack to see in Forsaken, but I did not think much of it and moved on. Well, I did not expect to wake up this morning and see one of the lead devs of Forsaken reaching out to me this morning who wanted to offer me some more insider info on Noli, extra tips for how to counter him, and even challenged me to basically a duel. This video is quite an interesting one, so sit back and enjoy. Oh, and please subscribe. We're so close to hitting 10,000 subscribers, which I'm aiming to hit by my birthday on July 3rd. Thanks! This is Kaiser, the third to lead developer of Forsaken, who is notably the lead balancer of the game, who regulates all balance changes we see every update such as these. Safe to say, the last thing I expected today was for my Noli video to blow up and have Kaiser reach out to me, requesting I take another look at Noli. Apparently, I'd gotten a lot of info wrong regarding Noli, and in other words, I was partially wrong about my take on Noli not being counterable, as you could say. So, Kaiser gave me some good points that helped me write this video a lot. The first thing I must address at the start of this video is what I got wrong yesterday. Skip this part if you don't really care and just want to see the gameplay in the next section. First off, Noli does not have ramp up damage like I claimed. This video from Kaiser is actually just the Void Rush ability dealing 10 damage to each survivor, but it adds up all in one move in this recording, making it look much more impactful with every hit. Also, Void Rush does 50 damage to a single survivor maximum, not 40. It does 10 from the first hit, 10 from the second hit, and then a 30 damage slam at the end. Void Rush also gives around a second of completely free turning just before dashing, so you can bounce between survivors easily. The misinformation I spewed on that video was not intentional, and I greatly apologized. Kaiser helped me fix this info up for this video. So, Kaiser invited me to play in a private server. The most notable thing about the open beta test that shaped my final opinion of Noli is from a mindset that everyone was completely new to playing with and against Noli. I basically summarized it like, I think Noli is going to be really hard to counter with the right person with their hands on him. Due to his abilities being so insanely technical, this is why I'm concerned for the future of this killer. This didn't acknowledge how many people would also get better when it comes to countering Noli. So when you take the lead balancing developer and absolutely insane skilled Noli player and put it up against me, who still can't hit a single projectile, you could probably imagine what happened. Especially once the second dev joined, I got absolutely destroyed in the hour we played. I was given Noli temporarily to see if I could beat them. And oh god, okay, well this isn't the most surprising. I'm not exactly known for being the best Forsaken player, so I wasn't exactly ashamed for not being able to beat, well, you know, people who have potentially months of experience on Noli already. So it was fun. Here's some very notable info and strategies I got from Noli when playing against these two. First off, canceling Void Rush isn't as easy as you might think. I didn't exactly pick up on this last night, but letting go of Q doesn't pause you in place. You still get pushed forward quite a significant amount, so it isn't too good for catching up. Secondly, Nova is comically easy to dodge. I was more used to how easily I managed to hit it with people yesterday due to them not knowing how to dodge it, but I personally see this as Noli's worst ability now. And third, Noli is going to be 5 stars in difficulty. 4 stars was not intended yesterday. But in general, I played really rough. Obviously, the matchup was difficult for who I was playing against, but it took me 12 whole minutes to kill the combo of Shaletsky and Elliot, because Shed would never die to the amount of healing, and the Elliot was just always swiftly protected by the Shed, who was really good at stunning around corners, especially because of how punishable Noli was. I'm mainly focused on trying to hit them with Void Rush and Nova, however, and my main focus was to get better at these two abilities, using my M1 less. It is very notable that because there's only 2 of them, landing a bouncing Void Rush onto multiple players was never bound to happen. And despite not being the best player at predicting, this whole session was an extreme wake-up call on how to loop and counter Noli, exactly what Kaiser taught me and which I am passing on to you guys.
Stop right there, criminal scum! Who breaks the law and against the law on my watch. Confiscating your stolen goods. Now pay your fine, or it's off to jail.
Nom nom nom. Are you kidding? I hate this.
Now that I've played Noli against people who truly know how to deal with him, here's what I've gathered. First off, don't let Void Rush ever work. It surprisingly depends on if the other players initially get hit due to the speeding up Noli every time, but once players know what it is, how it works, and when it's coming, Void Rush will be extremely hard to hit. These two ran around every wall, corner, rock, and looped me in such a way where neither Void Rush could turn in time, nor Nova could hit me well enough for how easy it is to dodge. Yes, Void Rush can hit through walls, but it is incredibly hard to do so for the survivors who know you're coming and know how to dodge it. In fact, the more I read this script, the less and less I think Noli will be as good as the other killers. His moves are just so counterable, and even in situations where you have the worst players facing the most skilled survivors like ours. Void Rush is countered by the most abundant thing in Forsaken, walls and props on the ground. I feel like once Noli is out for a while, Void Rush will primarily become a catch-up ability instead of a damage one. Nova will be extremely dependent on the killer's skill and position, as it's insanely restricted on how you can use it, unlike Corrupt Nature. And this just leaves Noli in a situation where you need to depend on his M1, which is just as good as any of the other killers. When putting it like this, it feels like the future of Noli players will need to begin to learn how to use the hallucination effect as not just the strategy, but a win condition. I could see some pretty wild strategies with this effect coming up, but again, we only pretty much played in glass houses and there were just 3 of us total. But Noli is honestly starting to look like by far the most counter killer, under the assumption the survivors know what they're doing. Noli was a specifically designed killer to be played differently and create a new meta in Forsaken, but in my opinion, this is looking like he's gonna make him turn out as a somewhat less of a threat as your classic Jason. I'll end this off with a question though, as I've been dying to know the answer. What makes Noli anti-loop, as he's classified as? I'd love to hear opinions on this in the comments, as this is something I've heard around many times. In a decent enough scenario, it seems like Noli will generally be pretty loopable, unless either Void Rush or Nova can punish in a more unique way, but definitely not anywhere near somewhere like John Doe or 1X. Anyways, that's it for this video. Big shout out to Kaiser for giving me some more info on this killer. I'm glad I could finally make a follow-up video to reflect some newfound information. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subs before my birthday on July 3rd, so maybe see if you can help me get a step closer to that. Anyways, I hope you have a good day.